Lightning could not strike twice for the Packers this week. They lose to the Lions 34-20 and drop to 2-2 on the season. Once again, for the second straight week, Green Bay was down big early after a tough start on offense. Detroit, whether it was with interceptions leading to touchdowns or just solid ball movement with Laporta, David Montgomery moving the chains all night, they were able to carve out a really strong early lead going into half. Up 27-3 at halftime. But the Packers, I'd say in the third quarter, they definitely played their best quarter of the game, kind of made it a lot more competitive. Jordan Love started to connect with some of his receivers. You saw Christian Watson get his first touchdown of the game of the season in his first game of the year. I was actually pretty impressed, despite an up and down statistical performance. I was really impressed with Jordan Love in this game. I think he continued to show a lot of poise as the leader under center for this team. I think he's pretty much, he is the quarterback, so it's his duty to be the leader of the team. But even in personality, despite his youth, I think he's been really showing that on the field, that he is the leader of this team, and he's really helped to keep all these young guys composed. Luke Musgrave went out with a concussion. They were already dealing with a ton of injuries. I was not prepared for Devondre Campbell and Jair Alexander both to be out of this game, two crucial defensive pieces for the Packers. David Bakhtiari went on IR. Apparently he's out for the season once again, so a lot of bad injury news for the Packers. It doesn't excuse the poor performance on offense, because we've seen in previous weeks against the Saints and Falcons, with a depleted offense, the Packers were able to do things, perform a lot better, and today they had almost everyone, and they were a lot worse. So no excuses there, but at the same time on defense, stopping the run, slowing the Lions offense down, it would have helped to have some of your better players out there. And they were close to making it a competitive game. They got the 2-point conversion once again like last week, got those 11 points, then got the score up to 17, missed the second 2-point conversion. I like Jordan Love taking it on his own, showing that confidence. And then obviously when the Lions had to settle for the field goal, it seemed like, only 2-score game. If the Packers get hot in the fourth, they can come down and perhaps, tie the game or take the lead. But of course the penalty on Quay Walker on the field goal allowed the Lions to get first and goal, score one more time. David Montgomery, 3 touchdowns in this game, so he had a pretty good night running the ball. And Detroit was able to hang on for the win. It's starting to look like, I originally predicted 8-9 for this Packers season, but the way they performed the first 3 weeks, I was like, maybe they can make the playoffs. The NFC's kind of wide open. Maybe a 7 seed is in play with 9 or 10 wins. But to me, the combo of the assortment of injuries they've had to deal with, there's a lot of youth on the offense, which can lead to up and down performance. We saw that in the Saints game. We saw it in this game, and then I like Matt LaFleur. I think it's valuable to have a coach who's not like a drill sergeant, a 60-year-old, coach who's it's my way or the highway. I like that Matt LaFleur is kind of getting to invoke his own offense this year now that Aaron Rodgers is no longer with the team. It's kind of more, it's not a shared, it's not as much of a shared playbook. It's kind of all Matt LaFleur's ideas, but at the same time, I understand Aaron Jones coming off an injury. He might have been on a bit of a snap count tonight, but to not get him the ball until you're down 24-3. Aaron Jones didn't have one rush attempt until the Packers were down 24-3. That's inexcusable. Even if he's hurt, Aaron Jones has to be a focal point of this offense. He showed it in week 1. To me, if he's healthy, he's got to be the focal point of the offense. But even tonight, despite him being banged up, you got to give him the ball more than A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon had another bad game. So that's 4. We're a month into the season. He's yet to perform up to task. So I don't know. I'm optimistic this Packers team is going to keep getting better, but definitely a demoralizing loss. Thought it was a winnable game, but Detroit looked like the better team, and that's what everyone, including myself, thought before the year. But I got my hopes up. That's the thing. When you predict your favorite team to go 8-9 ahead of the season, you're like, it'd be okay with an 8-win year. But once the season gets started and you're actively rooting for them, it gets a lot harder to swallow these type of losses. So the Lions, all of a sudden over the last 2 years, kind of own the Packers. It would be nice to change that tide as fast as possible, because for a very long time that was not the case. So I would like that to change as fast as possible. But for now, it seems like Detroit has its handle on the NFC North for this season.